Okay, Andrew, welcome to our office.
Namaste, Himesh. Great to be here with you, yeah.
What you say, everybody is talking about you, that you are the most known face in the Nepal nowadays. What do you say?
I really hope everybody is not talking about me. That scares me a little bit. I really don't know how to react. Look, I'm an Irishman who travels the world commentating on cricket, and I feel really lucky and fortunate to do so. And the way in which I seem to have been taken in here in Nepal is the only word I can ever really use is overwhelming. It's really overwhelming, but equally really grateful for all the kindness that everyone shows me all the time.
And what we hear is that you can speak Nepali nowadays.
A little bit, like a very little bit.
Few words, please.
Namaste. Sanche Nuncha. Ikdam Tiksa. Tiksa, some Tiksa, Ramrosa.
So in few years, you can speak fluently, I think.
No, my English isn't even that good. I will try. I really enjoy, I think, when I'm going about my daily life here in Nepal and you're able to say a few words, the reaction it gets from people is always really beautiful. So I've got to try learn some more, but I really enjoy trying my best.
Okay, then one serious question. You have told before that Nepal is the second home to you so many times.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah.
What you have said now?
Well, look, it is my second home, and the reason I say it's my second home is I cannot think of anywhere in the world I feel more at home than here in Nepal, particularly in Kathmandu, because that's where I spend the vast majority of my time. I think I've had about 30, maybe slightly more visits now to Nepal in total.
30?
Yeah, 30, maybe even close, maybe more. Somebody else will know better, but I've been down to the Terai region a couple of times, down to Barawa and Bharatnagar, but I haven't ever kind of got out to the touristy stuff, to your Pokhara's or to your far west or your far east regions, or to your Chitwan down to the national parks there. So most of my time is here, and I feel comfortable and at home here because I don't know why. I've always felt comfortable here. There's a lovely spirit to the city. The kindness of the people, which I refer to all the time, is really, really beautiful, and I love the food.
Okay. Which food do you like most?
Yeah, so look, my favorite food, Nepali food, is chicken kote momo. But the great thing about Nepal is that, particularly Kathmandu, there's so many options in terms of food. Every street corner you turn to, there's a chicken kate roll, or I know dal bhat is by far the most popular stuff here. But the guys have sometimes even brought me for the Nawari food as well. I've tried the Takali sets, but it's not just that. Like, there's great pizzerias in the city. There's good sushi in Kathmandu, which you wouldn't think of. The foods that we often get in the hotels are outstanding, but my favorite places are usually little cafes down side streets. And one of the things I love doing on this trip was introducing a couple of guys, from full member nations, and HD Ackerman, originally South African Test cricketer, and Darren Goff, Test cricketer, and Shridaran Shriyam, who would probably have a better understanding being from closer, being in India, but they had no idea what Nepal was going to be like, and I would bring them to a restaurant and they all said to me as they were entering, they're like, oh God, where's Lenny bringing us? This looks terrible. But then it kind of, as everything in Kathmandu, you get down an alley and it opens up into like a nice little courtyard, and you see the beautiful old buildings, and they were really impressed with the food. Particularly Darren Goff, and even HD Ackerman, who's a great friend of mine, but can sometimes get a bit grumpy. Even he had the most wonderful time. He loved it.
What about the climate? I mean, Kathmandu is a better place for you, I think.
Yeah, if we didn't have 9 a.m. games in the morning with the really cold starts, that was a bit tricky at times during the tournament. We had a cold spell, I think about the 10th of December, for about a week, where it snowed up in the mountains, and you could feel the chill. You could actually, for a few of the days, you could feel that chill in the air. And then there's two heroes. I'm sure we're going to chat about the Nepal Premier League, but there's two real heroes of the tournament for me, were the ground staff, many of whom live on site there at the TU. They were scraping frost and ice off the grounds. It was incredible, the work that they did to get the games in. And then the fans are the other heroes, for them to be turning out at 9 o'clock in the morning, often sitting on the grass banks when they were close to frozen, because if the sun hadn't hit them yet, they would have been frozen solid. Spellbinding stuff, really incredible.
So everybody's talking about the NPL. Is that tournament will be the bigger than in coming years?
There is absolutely no doubt it's going to grow. It'll get bigger and better, but I think it's much more important before we think about the future of the tournament to reflect upon what a success it has been. I was excited about the tournament, but I'll be honest, with cricket in Nepal, there has been false dawns before. And that's not to take away from previous events that have been held here, but this is the first time that the Cricket Association of Nepal have kind of owned and run their own T20 competition. I think everything they did in the build-up was really well planned and well thought out. The way in which they identified the 8 franchises going right the way across from the west to the east of the country to kind of play on that tribalism a little bit. I thought that worked excellently well. The branding of the tournament, the lovely historic, I think, Nawari symbols and figures that were built into the branding, the colours, probably the best sporting mascot in the world, in Jeet, the snow leopard. Like, whoever thought of that was ingenious. So much of the build-up was amazing, and the hype was real. And I was wondering, was it real when I was looking at social media?
That was real.
That was the thing, wasn't it? Before and obviously I followed the social media stuff. Social media is such a big part of life here in Nepal. I was going, is it going to be as big as all these kind of comments and likes and interest is saying? And then, came day one, 30th of November, the first of what was 4 Super Saturdays. And each of the 4 was bigger than the last, and truly a huge success. You tended to, when I worked at the ICC, you gauge the success of a sporting event, in ICC's case a cricket event, in 3 ways. Bums on seats, so people in attendance at the ground, people engaging and watching on television or their digital devices, and then thirdly, their engagement on social media. That tended to be, it's really your only 3 barometers that you can do. Obviously there's commercial aspects, but they're kind of already set. You know that you have your sponsors signed up beforehand, etc. So they're the 3 ones that as an event progresses, you look at and you gauge it by. And if you look at those 3 barometers, absolutely this Nepal Premier League, the inaugural one, knocked it out of the park. And there's an awful lot of people that should be really proud here in Nepal. And for me, it's about more than just cricket. This event has showcased the country in such a positive light. I truly adore Nepal. I think the country is genuinely going through a period of self-actualization, self-realization to its potential. You've had a massive brain drain. Millions of people have emigrated, and a lot of that diaspora is very, like much of the country, very well educated, and they are now desperate to help, have something to be proud of and give back. And I can just see that Nepal Premier League lifting the country up.
Okay, yesterday you met our PM.
Yeah.
How was the whole scenario? What you talk with him actually?
Yeah, I'll be happy to share it. There's a couple of words I often use about my experiences in Nepal, because I think I'm a pretty humble human, and I'm an Irishman. We're raised to think that everyone is equal. It's a massive part of our upbringing, given our history and our suppression by Great Britain right next to us for hundreds of years, our oppression as well. And look, there's 2 words I use, I maybe overuse them, but they're the only ones that I can find to describe them, which is overwhelming and then surreal. And Friday morning was utterly surreal, because I was changed and fully ready to go for a round of golf. I was off to play with Jimmy Neesham and Scott Kugelheim and young Joshua Trump, and we were heading up to the Garcarna Forest Resort. I had my golf polo shirt on, and my phone message with Paris Kadka saying, "Mate, you've been summoned to the Prime Minister's office." And the way it was phrased at first, I was like, am I in trouble? I don't know. And I said, why? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, do I have to go? And he said, yes, 100. It's you. He wants you to come. And I said, so I had to say Jimmy, and Jimmy was like, no, come on, mate, you got to come play golf. And I was like, I don't think I can. I have to go to do this. So, we got up there at about 3:00, myself and Paris Dye, and nobody, quite often in Nepal, one of the things that is unique to its character is nobody ever really explains what's happening. I don't know whether it's the language barrier, but I didn't know what was happening really at all. And we waited in this beautiful palatial hall. I believe it's the government, the Prime Minister's office, the government buildings that was damaged in the earthquake in 2015 has been beautifully restored. And we waited for him briefly, and he came out, and I don't know how to describe it, but I believe he feted me or celebrated me, which is incredibly kind and massively overwhelming. I was quite emotional, to be honest. I am not a political man. Before anyone asks me of my understandings or affiliations, I don't understand anything, but for the Prime Minister of the country to request you to be there and speak so kindly to me, I don't know if I've actually posted the letter yet. He gave me a framed letter. It was beautifully written, very evocatively written, and hand signed, and he gave it to me in both English and in Nepali, something I'll treasure for my whole life. And yeah, we spoke extensively about the power of sport for the country, the power of cricket, the importance of cricket for not just the youth of the country, but to help lift the country up, the success of the league, the importance of developing the facilities in the country. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing that he said absolutely that they've had some problems getting the developments of the TU finalised, but he assured me that, and Paris more importantly, I'm purely a guest here and honoured to be a guest here, assured me that the floodlights would be in next year, which I think will be transformative. You talk about future editions. If you've got games at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. selling out, I can only imagine what 2:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. under floodlights going into prime time in India will be like. Imagine that as a showcase for what this country's potential is. Quite huge.
Okay. You're going back tomorrow home?
Yeah, fly back tomorrow. I get home on Christmas Eve.
Did you have done shopping?
I've done nothing. I need to get on the back of a motorbike into Tamil to buy some more pashminas, I think. Yeah.
What will you be buying this?
Well, our Christmases back home are pretty small because I've just got my mum and my dad who are in their 70s now. My two brothers are in other parts of Europe, so it'll just be the three of us. We'll actually probably have our neighbours in as well, so there might be 5 or 6 of us. But look, I'll bring back lots of Nepali goodies. My dad's a whiskey drinker, so I might have to find him a nice bottle of Nepali whiskey as well. So
is that nice. Ella?
I don't know which one I'm going to go for. You'll have to tell me which one to go for.
Yeah. Okay. As you know, we everyone know you are an emotional person. The last question is that during all those 30 visits, 3 emotional moments.
Yeah, look, I am an emotional person. I'm absolutely Irish people wear their hearts in their sleeves, and I suspect that's part of the reason why I've connected with humans here in Nepal, because we share that bond and that love of cricket. My 3 most memorable moments all relate to the national team. One is an individual performance, which was Kushal Malla getting a century against Oman. I don't know why, but I stood up at the start of his innings. I very rarely stand up when I commentate, I usually sit. And I think it was a 61 ball century. And there's something, I think, special in sport when you see somebody so young performing so well. A little bit like Bipin Sharma in this tournament. I found that quite emotional. A 16-year-old found through a talent hunt, getting out Jimmy Neesham. Unbelievable story. A guy who played in the World Cup final and was New Zealand's super over star. Just incredible. Kushal Malla scoring that century.
The second? The
second, I'm going to save the best one for last, which everyone will remember. But the second is actually going to be an incident where there was no play. So this was on the 1st of May in 2023 when Nepal were in the process of qualifying for the Asia Cup for the first time. It went into the reserve day. It was a packed house. We got the first innings in, and I think maybe 1 over, or actually we didn't. We got almost all the first innings in, and they were 9 down. I hope I've got that right. And everyone in the crowd had brought an umbrella, and the entire TU, 25,000 or so, was packed with umbrellas. And I remember usually the security around the games now get a bit worried when I go into the crowd now, but I said to them, look, these guys are waiting in the rain, and they're waiting for hours. There was no chance they were going to play again. And I said, do you mind if I go around and just do some photos to help spread a bit of joy and give people something to hold on to? And they said yes. And I think I walked that entire ground, and some of the things people were saying to me that day, as they always do, were just so kind. Then the third one, I don't think anyone can ever look past March 16th, 2023 here. There's other great days in this country's history. Valentine's Day obviously comes immediately to mind. Your first T20 World Cup win back in 2014. But that day, that transcended sport, and yeah, I think that clip now has been viewed. I think it's over 40 million times online. That 40 seconds where not one ball is bowled, nothing happens, and yeah, to be there and just to be guessing. I was guessing what was happening live on air, and to luckily guess right that the game was called as done by the umpires, and the players sprinting on in celebration, and as those players sprinted on, the entire ground rising to their feet. Incredible. Goosebumps even thinking about it now, and I've had people from all over the world ask me about that clip even to this day. So yeah, three magically emotional moments with hopefully plenty more to come.
I think that's it. I think since you are coming next time also, we should have a lot of chats.
Absolutely, it'd be a pleasure. It's been really nice to be here. Wish you guys every success.
And Merry Christmas also.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Some message to our audience?
Yeah, guys, I know Christmas isn't quite as big here as the innumerate other festivals that you celebrate. Everyone here seems to be bigger than the last, but yeah, Merry Christmas from me. Thanks so much for everything during this Nepal Premier League. I've loved every second of being here, and I don't know when I'm back next, but I can't wait to get back. So it's Dandavad and a big namaste from me.